The Justin Robert Young Show, brought to you as always by the folks that pay us. You want to be one of them folks? Well, head on over to payjurydaily.com. Ladies and gents, clear out the vents. It's your old pal, Justin Robert Young. Tuesday, September 18th. I'm back. Back in Oakland, back in California. Back on the attack. Back in the studio. Very happy to be back in my routine. So I don't know. Have I discussed here on the JuRY Daily show? I swear to God, I will not do a lot of this because I do think that it is A, counterproductive to me primarily, and B, something that is annoying. In fact, let me ask you guys a question. Let's all understand that personal fitness and body image and weight gain and weight loss and everything that we go through with all of that is a deeply personal situation, and everybody's internal mix is going to be different than their neighbor. How much I did this personal fitness thing is too much? Is there a line in which where, you know, if somebody just tweets, got back from the gym, boy, I'm sore, right? Like, then innocuous, right? If they take a gym selfie every single day, I would guess it would depend on who they are, right? I mean, I guess that's certainly very successful Instagrams that are literally just gym selfies every single day. But then there are some like, I can't do this. I feel a certain way. I need to work out more. I haven't worked out enough. I'm working out too much. I want to know when that for you guys, jurydaily@gmail.com, or comment right here if you're watching us on youtube.com/JustinRobertYoung. Like, when is too much? Because I personally, here's my take on it. If you are a fitness person, there's never too much. Like, if that's your job, or you are, that's the point of your social media account, then that's fine. If you are in extraordinary shape, then you can say, oh my God, well, that's something there. But in general, I personally like to keep it sparing. Because really, talking about your personal fitness is the final evolution of you talking about your fantasy football team. Like, yes, some people will also happen to be really, really into it. But by and large, it's a deeply personal story that really only has the same kind of resonance between your ears. I don't know why. It's not like there's one ear with two holes on it. So here's all I'll say. This is a gigantic preamble to say that I'm going to a personal trainer now. I have made a commitment, a financial commitment, for me to get more in shape than I have been. This is, I think, a little bit of a rebound, the final form of the rebound of my back injury from last year, where now I want to make sure that I am less likely to have that situation happen to me again by being in better physical shape as I very slowly deteriorate from aging. And I feel like I've felt a bonus amount of energy, but I also am in a situation right now where I know tomorrow I am going to be intensely sore. Like when I reach over for my coffee cup and I'm like, oh wow, this seems really light. I just know that my arm's gonna want to fall off tomorrow. Ipsverse in the chat says at 35, it's not so slow for me anymore. Homie, same boat. Same boat. You can do it. You can do it just like me. Let's do it together, Ipsverse. All right. I don't want to talk about that. I do want to talk about this. I watched a trailer this morning, and I really want to talk about it. It is for a Marvel movie called Captain Marvel. It stars Allison Brie, and it has this scene in it. This is Captain Marvel, our hero, cocking her head to the side, an old woman smiling at her, and her punching that old woman as hard as she can as a superhero right in the face. Brie Larson, not Allison Larson, my mistake. I get, yes, no, I combine the final form of Allison Brie and Brie Larson. Brie Larson. There we go, moving on. This is... Well, that and the fact that they show the villains in the trailer as well, a sign that I'm really going to like this movie. And the reason why, and if you might indulge me as I get a little, hold on, wait, let me fluff out my neck beard a little bit, as I am going to talk about one of my favorite comic book villains, the Skrulls. If you're not familiar, the Skrulls are a Marvel creation, a villainous alien race that I had primarily known as a foe of the Fantastic Four. Apparently, it is because they were primarily a foe of the Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four was, their movie rights had been occupied by Fox, that they never really got into using the Skrulls in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But for my money, they are an indispensable and easily my favorite alien race of the Marvel canon. If you're unfamiliar with the Skrulls, here's what they do. They take over planets by shape-shifting into the way that people look. And then also at times with the Fantastic Four, they could like take their powers and stuff like that. Now, not only is that just a cool power, although shape-shifting in general can be a very tricky thing to write because it's very quickly a OP kind of power. You have to put definitions on it really quickly. It's kind of like the Superman of powers. Like you have to, a Superman movie or Superman book is really only as good as his powers are contained, because otherwise, as is with the worst Superman movies and stories, you know, Superman's there, they throw some kryptonite in front of him, he's like, oh, I'm so weak, and then there's one moment where Superman has to fix something, but there's kryptonite on it, and he just kind of like squints really hard and just does it anyway. Which doesn't really, it doesn't really do anything, right? Like you can't have any dramatic tension if you're like, uh-oh, there's kryptonite. Now he can't be Superman. He's got to figure out how to be a smart person. And it's like, no, he can just squint. Nah. So I don't know where Captain Marvel is going to go with the Skrulls. But in a world that Marvel had, made their bones on in the 50s and 60s, a time of tremendous change, a time of a tremendous understanding of us versus the other, the villain that can look like us is pretty fucking powerful, is really awesome. And so I'm super pumped. Now, let's go back to this moment in the trailer. Because everybody seems to think immediately that it's the old woman who is the Skrull, and it is Captain Marvel who is punching the Skrull right in the face. And that may very well be the case. But I submit to you an alternate way of thinking, good sir. What if the Skrull is Captain Marvel? And Captain Marvel, the Skrull version, is just parading around various different public transportations and punching old women in the face. Would that be better? I think it would be better. I don't know what it is. It may very well be the first. The fact that the Skrull wants to hide as an old woman and Captain Marvel is hauling off and knocking her jaw loose. Oh, mwah, Italian chef's kiss. I have no idea whether this movie will be good. All I know is that the Skrulls are my favorite. If you have a favorite Marvel villain that is unsung, that has not yet appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or just want to fan boy or girl out about the Skrulls, go ahead and hit me up. JuRYDaily@gmail.com, or leave a comment right here on the YouTube, youtube.com/Justin Robert Young. We got your emails here. Strike It Rich wrote this. This I think was from the YouTube. We were talking to Brian Brushwood yesterday. I gotta say, man, I had a little bit. I caught a little bit of the feels yesterday because I got a lot of memories. A lot of my career is tied up in that spare bedroom of Brian Brushwood's, where he has built an empire and now is moving all that equipment out so he can go to his 7-acre schwood. But that does mean we are following the political maneuverings of the fact that now there is an empty room in a house that will very soon, already has one teenage girl, will very soon have two teenage girls, and then will very soon have a daughter in the 5 to 10 range that has two teenage sisters and wants to model her behavior off them. So space will be at a premium in the Brushwood house, and so Strike It Rich asks, which Brushwood daughter gets their own room? Also, I couldn't read the patch on your hat, but is that a JuRY trucker hat? It is not a JuRY trucker hat, although if you guys are interested in it, maybe we should figure that one out. As I know, I'm reporting exclusively on the political machinations of the Brushwood house. The current plan is for Brian to take that room as his place he gets to sleep because he's on a different schedule than Bonnie often and doesn't want to disturb her, or guest room. Because right now, the territorial expansion of the Brushwood girls has already happened. There used to be a guest room in the Brushwood house. There's no longer a guest room. Now it is Penny's room. The teenager said, no. I get my own room. Boom. That's it. Also, none of this, oh, your friend's coming into town and now I have to sleep on the couch. Absolutely not. There's no fun playtime where we get to set up a tent in the living room and pretend like this is a treat. That's a wrap. So I believe that will be the guest room / Brian's extra bed in that studio. Carl, California Carl on YouTube, who made the point to point out that the fictitious Carl that I mentioned in the hurricane story is something that you need to be on the lookout for, made the point to say Carl is fine, as in Karl. It's that CARL that you have to watch out for. Well, thank you. Stinky Pete the Pirate on YouTube said, can I get herbed up for your hurricane party? The answer is yes. You can get cheebed to the gills for a hurricane party. The issue is, again, you got to be mindful and you got to know your squad. Is weed smoke something that people want to be around where you can't open up the doors or a window? That's a question. Certainly cigarette smoking is another element of that. You know, if you're around a bunch of smokers that don't mind a bunch of smoking happening in a enclosed area where you can maybe crack a little bit of a window, maybe, vapes. It's really take a poll. In fact, make sure that you go ahead and have just a little communication before everybody shows up. That's going to be the key. Rec LeBeau says, don't forget to order your Action News game at actionnewsgame.com for your hurricane parties. That's a good point. And finally, Trench Reynolds, who does nothing but give us all the hot tips on the internet. Thank you for our beat reporter, the JuRY Daily beat reporter, Trench Reynolds. He wrote in with this story. Mayo Chup, Heinz debuts controversial mayonnaise ketchup mixture, to which Trench said, isn't this just Thousand Island dressing? And the answer to that, Trench, is no, it's a goddamn waste of ketchup. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our producers, The Jen, PD Rave, Non-Specific, Rock and Roll Martian, Joe Acosta, Will, John H. Meyer, James, Bill, Dustin, and new producer, Vile. Go ahead and email us, jurydaily@gmail.com, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, @JustinRYoung. You can join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. Folks, if you're in the Bay Area, you want to see me talk about all the midterms that were, then go ahead and head over and get tickets. Our election night show, 7 p.m. at the Piano Fight Theater, is available at bit.ly/WaveWatch. Till tomorrow. Please give a round of applause for Mr. Wacky. And please, don't you think you have had enough? Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.